The most notable thing I've come to realize while running this channel is that many of you who have followed me on Instagram are objectively way better 3D designers than me. And there's no doubt that being a better designer is a major leg up if you're looking for good pay. But another thing I've been thinking about lately is that better design rarely ever really correlates with better pay, which is why it seems many of you are even on this channel in the first place. I wanted to make a more raw video where I just kind of journal my thoughts out loud, and hopefully you guys get some value out of this. So I started 3D in mid-2020. I started with all the basics. I did the Blender Guru Donut Tutorial 3.0, a bunch of lighting tutorials, and then a bunch of modeling tutorials. And at the time I was pretty convinced that I was just going to get good and then go into the industry and join a studio and make, 70 or 80,000 a year modeling assets for things or commercials or whatever. But then a friend got me into the crypto space in early 2021 when the bull market was really going off. That was my first major introduction to getting money online. So I was 17 or 18 at the time, and I ended up in a lot of crypto communities that would release these shitcoins like every single day. And I ended up reusing the 3D model for like the same coin that I made, except I would just put the logo of different shitcoins on it, and then I would try to sell the owners of the shitcoins on the shitcoin models in exchange for some of the shitcoin. So a lot of them went to zero, but some of them did pretty well, and I ended up getting paid $100 USD worth of the shitcoin. And same day it ended up going to like 700 or 800, which I happily liquidated. Despite this not being life-changing money, I was 7 months into using Blender and I had made $800 in a day. I knew there was something special to go after there. Now, I've talked about my journey of finding clients through e-commerce and cold DMs and stuff a number of times. So I'm gonna put a video in the description if you want to hear more about like finding clients and my process for that. But essentially, I ended up gaining one of my best connections through a cold DM. Now, as a mediocre designer with about a year of experience under my belt, I sent probably 500 DMs to anybody who looked like they might run an e-commerce brand. And in November 2022, one of them actually hired me to work for his brand new company. So I learned later after getting closer to this client that at the time when he hired me, he was about 25,000 in debt. And he was just going deeper and deeper into the hole by paying me. He also told me at one point that the only reason he continued working with me is because I was one of the few people who were honest, really good at communicating and responding quickly, and I was able to adapt and change with the company's requirements. Now, I forget exactly what it was, but someone on Twitter recently said that there are so many designers out there, but so few are good, honest, and have good communication skills. And so far, I've kind of heard this from everybody. So I kind of made it my goal to just check all of those boxes. I'm really, really good at communication. I'm really timely. I've never been late on a project unless it's, something outside of my control happened. But basically, I went as hard as I could for this company for as long as I could, going way above and beyond. I had a minimal amount of e-commerce experience too, because I'd run a moderately successful dropshipping store like 2 years ago. So I had small pieces of advice to give here and there for this brand new business. I also wanted to say about 4 years ago, I read a book called The Go-Giver, and it gave me a very valuable piece of information that I'm going to share with you all right now, so you don't need to read it. I still recommend it, link in the description. The moral of the story is that people tend to gain exceptional opportunities in life by just simply giving away things for free. Now, for an e-commerce company, that could mean helping somebody out with a discount if they ask you through an email, or sending influencers free shit. And in the context of providing value, this may or may not be one of the reasons why I run this YouTube channel. Anyways, with this new client from the DM, I would charge him most of the time. I would be making money on basically all of the projects, but if he needed something small or I felt like I could give him something, I would occasionally just throw him free work, little things here and there. And what that did is that established more of a friendly relationship as opposed to a, transactional business relationship. And I think really going the extra mile is what makes you stand out amongst a world of designers who are good, but they provide nothing truly exceptional. But eventually I ended up doing the creative direction for this company for the majority of a year. I'm still working on it now, but essentially it's kind of a self-sustaining thing. There's no longer much of a need for creative work that I can provide, but him and I still talk every day. Anyways, literally a year ago, I was on Zoom calls with him and he was seeming all depressed. You could tell that he was losing money like crazy. And over the course of this year, he just became a millionaire. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, a few weeks ago, he even invited me out to Tulum, where I stayed in a house for free with 4 other super talented brand owners. Through this cold DM, essentially, I may have recently been connected to what might be one of my biggest clients by far. I don't want to speak on it too much yet, but I may have found a totally untapped avenue for $100,000+ 3D projects. I'm going to keep this one under wraps for now, though. If all goes well, I will definitely make a video about it in the future. But yeah, when I was in Mexico recently, I was at the dinner table, we're all talking and everything, and it basically came up that since sending a cold DM to the right guy is literally the only reason I was there. I had no reason to meet this guy. He's all the way across the country from me. It was literally just a lucky shot. I was thinking to myself, why am I even there? I'm not even that good. Why do I deserve this? The main goal of this video is to communicate that I'm still not an amazing designer by any means. Nor do I even really study 3D anymore outside of just, little 1-minute videos to get me along during projects when I get stuck. The main things I would say to anybody who's looking to level up like their income in 3D is get good at lighting, texturing, and motion animation. So if you're doing motion and animation, the amount of times that I see like otherwise pretty good work, but then the camera just moves in this like very awkward like default setting way. I think specifically lighting and the motion on animations are like what sets apart amateurs and people who are basically at the point where they can go sky high with their income. And I think there are certain exceptions to this. Like if you have a uniquely distinct style like this guy right here, things may be a little different for you. In most cases, technically, you just got to be really good at lighting, texturing, and motion. I was flipping through my Instagram stories recently, as one does, and I came across a Coca-Cola animation and it just wasn't that good. Like it was an official Coca-Cola ad and I wish I could find it, but it was just like, it wasn't bad, but there was nothing special about it. And I'm thinking to myself, like whatever agency put this together just made an absolute killing on some work I could do in like 3 days and do better. This is why we see big companies just putting out like mediocre work. And on a totally separate note, I just want to remind you guys that when companies get super, super big and bloated, like Coca-Cola, for example, it's really, really hard for them to adapt to change. And there are so many levels of people trying to please their boss, who's trying to please their boss, who's trying to please their boss, that essentially, if you can just know the right people, they're not going to look any further. You just want to please the person who's going to please their boss, who's going to please the boss above them. It's really pretty ridiculous. And actual design skill is not really a part of it. So yeah, not saying I'm working for Coca-Cola or anything, but this is just an observation. And the more and more experience I get in this industry, I'm kind of seeing how things are put together. I think my final piece of advice is to put together a good portfolio. Now this may go against what a lot of people say, but I personally think that you should get rid of your old work. Not get rid of, but hide it from your portfolio, because you want to give the illusion that you're only putting out really high quality work, because clients don't want to see like, 5 really, really solid projects and then 2 sort of mediocre ones, or 2 projects with like little hidden mistakes that, that not everyone may spot. Because if they think that there's a 2 out of 7 chance that they're going to get some bad work, it's kind of a conversion rate killer, if you know what I'm saying. So I'd say just only put out your best work, remove your older low quality work as better work comes to replace it, and I think you'll be set for selling to just about anybody. At that point, it's literally just about going crazy with the networking, crazy with the connections. All it takes is one of the right clients. It's ridiculous. You really just got to go fishing. Just think about it as fishing. You're a patient fisherman. You're putting the bait out in the water and you're just looking for a bite. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this more raw video format. I'm going to try to stray away from the like Mr. Beast-esque thumbnails that I've been doing recently. This is getting ridiculous. Let me know if you guys like these more raw videos. I can pump out a lot of them a lot faster. So if you guys enjoy, please let me know with a like, comment, and a subscribe if you like making money with Blend. See ya.